G'day geeks, my name is Chris and this is the first episode of my new YouTube channel, and as you can probably guess by all the things around me, I'm a collector of vintage and modern action figures but also comic books, and this channel will focus primarily on that. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people in particular, Ryan the Collector Kid and Jem from See You in the Funny Papers, who also have their own YouTube shows which you should definitely check out. They've been a great encouragement to me and just given me some great advice, as well as everybody else who just said, Chris, you've been talking about starting YouTube for years, just do it. So I realise this first episode isn't going to be perfect, but hopefully as I produce more it will get better, right? Yeah, it will. This first episode is focused on the Nexus Toy Fair, which is held every 3 months. It's a very collector focused, collector friendly event held every 3 months here in WA, and this is the fourth time that me and my mate Adrian have been selling there. So this video is about what I saw, but also, most importantly, what I picked up. So let's have a look at Nexus. This video is all about the Nexus Toy Fair that was held on Saturday, the 13th of July. It's highly recommended that you go. There's something for everybody. There's action figures, vintage and new, trading cards, Pokemon cards, retro and new video games, there's stamps, there's coins, there's die-cast cars, there's books, there's comics, Lego is always a big seller, Harry Potter stuff. Look, there's something there for everybody. So I think this is the fourth time that me and my mate Adrian have been there as sellers. There's about 150-ish vendors, tables set up each time, and they have it every 3 months at the Leisure Life Centre in Vic Park. There's also one up north in Joondalup, which I think is normally held on a Sunday, and the next Nexus is in October, and that'll be the last one for the year. So $5 to get in, kids under 8 are free, and yeah, tell your friends, your colleagues, your family members, everyone's a geek about something is my theory. Everyone collects something or enjoys something, and October is perfect timing to find a unique gift for your loved ones for Christmas. Look, I'm not working on commission here, but I highly recommend that you do go to Nexus at least once. Anyway, let's have a look at what I picked up for the one in July. The first thing I picked up was this, a Hydron, and yes, I realise that sounds like a filtration device for a swimming pool, but it's actually an action figure from the Masters of the Universe Classics line, made by Mattel and for the adult collector, which is me. So the Motu Classics, Masters of the Universe Classics line, ran from 2008 to 2020, and they are considered by many to be the premier, like the absolute best action figure interpretation of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe lines. They certainly made some deep cuts, pulling from the rich lore of the last 40 years of Masters of the Universe mythology. Here is Hydron in all his, what colour is that? Aqua, teal, turquoise, glory. I love the packaging on these Motu Classics figures. They have the green rocks, stones of Castle Grayskull, lightning, kind of fantasy background. Yeah, so cool. We flip him over and we can see some of the many other figures that are available in the Motu Classics line. So there's Hydron right there. I also had Icarius, the daring space ace, as I was a kid growing up, and also there the newer version of He-Man with his fancy new sword and shield. So I'm hoping to get those three. I've currently got the He-Man, and if I can just grab Icarius in the Motu Classics line, that'll complete all the ones I want really. There's a bit of a bio on Hydron, real name Daniel Ripper Jr., which is a name almost as cool as Hydron. And if you're curious about the mythology, the lore, the background of all these He-Man characters that you've never heard of, I would suggest you follow Scott Knightlick, otherwise known as Spectre Creative on YouTube, because he was the brand manager, I think, at Matty Collector during the time that these Motu Classics line figures were released, and he's got a lot of interesting history to say about all of these. So there's Hydron, the Galactic Protector. One of the great things about Nexus is you never know what you're going to find, and I've been looking for my second purchase of the day for quite some time, and I found it at Campaign Supplies table. I think the guy was Mark. and he was very friendly. So if I got your name correct, Mark, thank you very much for just being awesome and having a good chat with me about D&D and all that kind of stuff. So yes, a local supplier of Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing game, TTRPG stuff. So that's some of the stuff that they sell. So always support local if you can. But yes, I've been looking for this huge, in fact so huge, let's zoom out, the making of the original Dungeons and Dragons book for some time, and I never quite found it. So very happy to find this book on the campaign supplies table. As you can tell, it's huge, it's heavy, it's almost 600 pages, you can barely fit in, and this covers the era from 1970 to 1977 so of Dungeons and Dragons. So when I opened it on the back, which kind of just shows you what is contained within, it's got original sketches, the dialogue between the two creators of Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of stuff from Gary Gygax, who a lot of people will know as the creator of Dungeons and Dragons pretty much. And this year is the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, by the way. But yeah, this cool little insert was pretty awesome. And then I flipped it over. Another pleasant surprise. The old character sheet from the 1970s, which is very, very cool. So that was a nice little Easter egg of sorts. But yes, this book is absolutely massive. I'm going to flick through it very quickly because I haven't had the proper time to digest it. It's going to take me a while to do that because, as I said, it's 600 pages. It's bigger than a phone book. Remember phone books? Do they still print those? I don't know. And we can take the dust jacket off and look at that wonderful art. And this is like some kind of felt or embossed, I don't know. That's the D&D ampersand symbol, the icon logo of the company. But yes, there is so much stuff in this book. It collects just a lot of correspondence between Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, the two guys who were instrumental in creating Dungeons & Dragons to not what it is today, I guess, because it's changed a lot since those days, but they certainly laid the foundation. So there's just so much richness and just good stuff to be found in here. So this book is written by John Peterson, who has done a lot of similar books on D&D. He's even helped create the D&D cookbook. Yes, there is one. I can highly recommend the Elven Mulled Wine, I think it was. We played at one of our sessions, which is delicious. But yeah, look at all this stuff. This is like an archive of the history of D&D. So nothing else has been created like this. Very thorough, very deep, and it's just very exciting to read it all and just to see how it began and kind of where it ended up, at least for the first 7 years. So very, very interesting stuff. From Cube Boy Collectibles, I picked up some of these wonderful little keshi, which is a Japanese style of figure. They're just like little rubber, single colour, little weird humanoid type creatures. Usually they're quite accessible and easy to find in Japan in certain places, much more than they are here in the West. Although the style was kind of released in the West as muscle figures. Some of you may remember back in the 80s, MUSCL, which stands for millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. There you go. Can't remember my blood type. I can't remember what muscle stands for. It's a Mad Max kind of looking guy, I guess, gladiator. But yes, they all come in very different colours and weird, grotesque characters usually. So I was very happy that on his recent trip to Japan, he grabbed some of these keshi figures and had them for sale. So they are pretty awesome, and I'm going to add those to my jar of little similarly themed keshi figures. Look at that, guys, like got a steam roller for the chest. Yes, they're from Cube Boy Collectibles. He's a very talented YouTuber, toy collector and toy maker, so give him a follow. One of the tables opposite me all day in Nexus was this wonderful table which had an assortment of things, including laser discs. So they had a box under the table and said $10 each, and I was like curious what they were. So when I had a chance, I walked around the table, had a look what they had under, and I saw that they had a collection under the table of various 90s laser discs. So I grabbed these two for $10 each, which was a steal. So I don't have a laser disc player, no, but I also don't have a VCR, and I've got a somewhat impressive VHS collection because they display well, and it's just a bit of entertainment technology history, I guess. So Stargate and Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, starring Bruce Willis and Jeremy Irons and Samuel L. Jackson. Pretty important films from the 90s. So if you don't know what laser discs are, they were basically a cross between the format of vinyl records and DVDs, I guess. And if you had one or knew anyone that had one, they were must have been pretty rich, because they were not cheap, the old laser discs. And then, eventually superseded by DVDs, Blu-ray, streaming. There you go. So laser discs, pretty important part of the entertainment technology history. But let's actually open these and see what they look like inside. If you're curious, this is what a laser disc looks like. So very shiny. There you go, you can see me. Hello, look at my wonderful Batman t-shirt. And they are quite thick as well. So double-sided, you would flip them over in your huge laser disc player. And yeah, just look at that, beautiful. So you don't really see laser discs or laser disc players around very much anymore, but I was very happy to see these. I saw this vintage Superpowers lunchbox when the table selling it was setting up, and I thought, I wonder if I should pull the trigger on that, but I'm very glad I did. This is a lot smaller than the D&D book, so I'm not going to be knocking over my microphone and light. That thing's so big. This fits a lot better on the table. So this is a Aladdin, who was specialised in making these kind of tin lunchbox and thermos back in the day. In the 80s, you could get lunchboxes for every TV show or film or franchise, basically. I can't recall if I had a similar themed lunchbox as a kid. I don't think so. But this was quite a surprise to find. So Superpowers was a much loved not cartoon necessarily, but a much loved toy line that ran in the 80s based on DC Comics characters. Thankfully McFarlane Toys have brought it back in the last couple of years. So here we have all the classic Superman, Batman, Robin and Wonder Woman, or the heavy hitters. But yeah, just the art on this is wonderful, made by the very talented, thankfully still with us, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, who has just been cranking out some wonderful art over the last decades really. Superpowers packaging art and licensing art is kind of where a lot of us know him from. If you can hear things rattling around inside, that's not the thermos, that's actually the last few items that I picked up, including this vintage Kenner Fright Features Janine from the Real Ghostbusters line. I picked her up from the same vendor that I got the lunchbox there in the background. And the gimmick here is that you raise her arms, her hair flaps open, her eyes bulge out and her mouth. Her jaw drops as well to show that she's scared. I mean, they are called fright features after all. So I love the old gimmicks on these lines. She's got a little ghost trapping thing which looks like a rake or a pasta maker or something odd. But yeah, she raises her arms and she gets all terrified. I love that. She comes with a little ghost here, which is very unique looking. It comes in real hair, like a little My Little Pony or something. Very bulbous, and you can see it's kind of translucent in parts, but very interesting. The ghosts in the Real Ghostbusters line are always pretty interesting characters by themselves. So yes, I had this figure as a kid, so I was very happy to see Janine and the Ghostbuster ghost accessory. Very happy to see that. Right, Janine? Finally, I got from my mate Adrian, thank you Adrian, some figures of the Trash Bag Bunch, released by Galoob in 1991. These are very 90s with their neon colours, the bright pinks and greens and oranges, and you can tell when something's made from the 90s, it's made in the 90s, it's very unmistakable in the colour palette they used. So the Trash Bag Bunch, released by Galoob in 91, and they're kind of like a precursor to the blind bag phenomenon, I guess, that is so captivated people in the collector market today. You would buy these figures in water-soluble bags, so you didn't know what figure you were buying when you purchased them. You'd dump the bag into water, the bag would melt, and it would reveal one of the characters from the two different warring factions inside. So they were pretty cool. They've got little guns and there's like alien looking guys and all that kind of thing. This guy's got his hand off, but that's cool. He's still a bit threatening. So these are the Trash Bag Bunch. That completes my Nexus purchases. happy with all the weird little and big purchases from Nexus. Thank you to everybody who came by and kind of said hello and introduced themselves, had some wonderful chats with some wonderful people. It's always good to kind of see your fellow toy collecting community, and I was very happy with all the things here that I discovered. So the next one is in October. Hopefully I'll see you there.